This is not your place. Go away.
Stop it now! She's fired.
Plot twist story.
The atmosphere inside La Belle Noire oozes luxury, a fine dining restaurant where only the elite dine. Golden chandeliers hang from the high ceiling, casting a warm, honeyed glow over the sleek marble floors. Soft jazz hums in the background, blending with the gentle clinking of wine glasses and silverware. Waiters glide smoothly between tables, refilling glasses with precision, their crisp uniforms unblemished. This is a place where status is everything, where designer suits and silk dresses dominate, where the wealthy don't just eat, they make statements. Then the front doors open. A gust of cool air sweeps through as Ethan Brooks, 22, black, tall, casually dressed in a hoodie, jeans, and sneakers, steps inside. His posture is relaxed, but his eyes are sharp, scanning the restaurant, absorbing everything. He doesn't look nervous. He doesn't look intimidated. He simply looks aware, and that's precisely why he stands out. His casual attire clashes with the curated elegance of the space. Conversations don't stop, but they shift. Murmurs ripple. A woman in pearls leans toward her husband, whispering behind a manicured hand. A man in a tailored suit throws a brief glance at Ethan, eyebrows slightly raised, before returning to his steak. The message is clear: he doesn't belong here. Across the room, Amanda Hastings, 30, white, poised, impeccably dressed in a fitted black dress and stilettos, the restaurant's manager, spots him instantly. Her keen, assessing eyes narrow. She doesn't recognize him, and that alone is a red flag. Her job isn't just managing staff, it's maintaining the restaurant's reputation. And to her, a young black man in street clothes standing at the entrance of her establishment? That's a problem. Without hesitation, she moves, her heels click sharply against the floor, each step purposeful, controlled. She reaches Ethan just as he takes another step inside, blocking his path with effortless authority. She doesn't smile. Amanda, arms crossed, voice cool, eyes scanning him like he's a misplaced object. "Excuse me, sir. Can I help you?" Her tone is polite but firm, laced with a condescension that doesn't need to be loud to be clear. Around them, a few diners glance over, intrigued. Ethan, catching the shift in energy, exhales slowly. Ethan, calm, neutral. "Yeah, I'm just here to check something." Amanda tilts her head, smirking slightly. "Check something? I see. Let me guess, you're here for a job in the kitchen." There it is, she doesn't ask what he's here for, she assumes. Ethan raises an eyebrow, his expression unreadable. He could correct her, but he doesn't. He waits. Amanda chuckles, dismissive, like she's already figured him out. "Look, I admire ambition, really, but we're not hiring right now." She gestures vaguely toward the kitchen. "You can try again in a few months, maybe." A few nearby guests smirk, entertained by the exchange. A waiter passing by glances at Amanda but doesn't intervene. This is her territory, and no one wants to challenge her authority. Ethan, slow blink, measured tone. "Actually." Amanda waves a manicured hand, cutting him off before he can finish. "Or wait, maybe you're a delivery guy. If so, takeout orders go through the back entrance." The insult hangs in the air. A small, knowing smile tugs at the corner of Ethan's mouth, but his eyes? Cold. Calculated. Amanda doesn't notice. She thinks she's just putting a nobody in his place. She has no idea who she's talking to. The atmosphere in La Belle Noire shifts. The once harmonious blend of clinking glasses and soft jazz is now disrupted by an unmistakable tension radiating from the restaurant center. Eyes dart toward the heated exchange unfolding between the sharply dressed Amanda Hastings and the casually attired Ethan Brooks. Ethan exhales slowly, his posture controlled, his expression unreadable. He is keenly aware of the mounting scrutiny. Every breath he takes is deliberate, every movement calculated. He refuses to let frustration seep through. He's played this game before. Amanda, emboldened by the silent approval of the wealthy patrons, lifts her chin. Her voice, sharper now, cuts through the air like a blade. Amanda, her words precise, calculated to inflict maximum humiliation. I assure you, I don't need to take a moment. I can tell just by looking at you that you are entirely out of place. You simply don't belong in an establishment of this caliber. The impact is instantaneous. A ripple of reactions washes over the room. Some guests try to appear indifferent, pretending to focus on their meals while discreetly eavesdropping. Others lean in, openly entertained. The waitstaff, caught between discomfort and fear, shift uneasily, their hands tightening around trays. They know Amanda. They've seen this side of her before. Across the room, a group of wealthy diners exchange glances. Their whispers slither through the air like a silent verdict. Customer 1, whispering intently, lips curled into a smirk. Did you see that? The manager is handling the situation with remarkable professionalism. She's certainly not letting him get away with anything. Customer 2, chuckling, adjusting their cufflinks. Honestly, can you blame her? Look at him, hoodie, sneakers, completely out of sync with the ambience. It's almost disrespectful. Their laughter is low, but pointed. Ethan subtly clenches his jaw, his fists forming inside his pockets. The whispers, the smirks, the way people avert their gaze, it's all so predictable. He's not just being dismissed, he's being put on display. He lifts his gaze and deliberately scans the room, reading the crowd like an open book. He sees the disgusted sneers, the amused smiles, the hesitation of the staff who know this isn't right but wouldn't dare interfere. Finally, he speaks. His voice is steady, carrying a weight that demands attention. Ethan, calm, unwavering, letting the words settle like a challenge. So, if I understand correctly, you have absolutely no idea why I'm here, what my purpose is, or who I might be, yet you've already decided I don't belong? A small flicker of hesitation flashes in Amanda's eyes, just for a second. But she doubles down. Amanda exhales sharply, then laughs, a cold, empty sound meant to reassert dominance. Amanda, smirking triumphantly, flipping her perfectly styled hair with a practiced flourish. That is precisely correct. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have actual guests to attend to, guests who appreciate the finer things in life and understand the importance of class. Her words are dripping in condescension, designed to hit like a slap. She raises a perfectly manicured hand and waves toward the exit, dismissing him outright. Ethan inhales deeply, rolling his tongue along the inside of his cheek. For the briefest moment, he contemplates ending this farce right now. One sentence, just one sentence, and Amanda's world would crumble. He almost says it, but before he can utter a single word, the restaurant's front doors swing open with a dramatic flourish. A sharp gust of wind sweeps inside, momentarily disrupting the room's balance. The whispers die. The smirks fade. The once amused diners turn, their expressions shifting from mild curiosity to something closer to apprehension, because standing in the doorway are Richard and Eleanor Brooks, draped in elegant evening attire. The owners of La Billionaire command attention without effort. Richard, his presence unapologetically authoritative, lets his sharp gaze sweep over the room. Eleanor, regal and composed, doesn't scan the space at all. Her eyes go straight to Ethan. Amanda stiffens, suddenly rigid, breath hitching in her throat, her once unshakable confidence fractures. She can feel the shift in the room. The realization is they're hovering like a storm cloud, but she's not ready to acknowledge it yet. Eleanor doesn't spare Amanda a single glance. She walks right past her, right to Ethan. The air in the restaurant is thick with confusion. Staff stand frozen in place. A waiter fumbles a tray, nearly knocking over a bottle of expensive wine. Eleanor reaches Ethan and rests a gentle hand on his arm, her expression softening into something maternal. Eleanor, warm, relieved, voice carrying through the silent room. Ethan, sweet here tea, are you okay? The entire restaurant collectively stops breathing. Amanda's face loses all color. She turns to Ethan so slowly, it's as if her body refuses to acknowledge the truth. Her breath catches. Her stomach drops. Amanda, whispering, a broken realization creeping into her voice. Ethan. Ethan finally smiles. A slow, deliberate smirk that carries more weight than any words he could say. His eyes gleam with a mixture of amusement, and something much sharper. Ethan, casual, effortless, but devastating. Oh, right. I forgot to mention. Beat, I'm their son. The weight of Ethan's words crashes down on Amanda like a tidal wave. The air in La Belle Noire is thick with an unspoken, paralyzing tension. Every face in the restaurant mirrors the same stunned realization: the man Amanda just humiliated, dismissed, and shamed in front of a room full of wealthy patrons is not just some random outsider. He is the heir. The son of the restaurant's owners. For the first time since their encounter began, Amanda doesn't know what to say. Her voice fails her, her once razor-sharp confidence fracturing under the weight of her own arrogance. Her mind races, trying to grasp at any possible excuse, any way to salvage the situation, but there's nothing. Richard Brooks finally steps forward, his face unreadable, his presence an undeniable force. His slow, deliberate steps echo in the now deathly silent restaurant. He doesn't need to raise his voice, his sheer authority demands attention. He looks at Amanda the way a judge might look at a criminal about to be sentenced. Richard, calm, but ice cold. Would you like to explain to me, Amanda, why you just attempted to throw my son out of his own family's restaurant? Amanda swallows hard, her hands clasping together in front of her, her once smug posture now a picture of desperation. Amanda, stammering, voice trembling. Mr. Brooks, I didn't know. I had no idea. I thought. Eleanor, cutting her off, tone sharp as glass. You thought he wasn't worth your respect. Because of how he was dressed. Because he didn't look like he belonged. Amanda opens her mouth, scrambling for a defense, but Eleanor raises a hand, silencing her. Eleanor, disgusted, shaking her head. You didn't even ask his name. You didn't give him a chance. You decided the moment you saw him that he was beneath you. And now that you know the truth, you're scrambling to justify it. Amanda's eyes dart around, searching for support, for sympathy, but all she finds is cold, judgmental stares. The customers who were laughing at Ethan's expense now look at her with quiet disgust. Even her own staff, the waiters and hostesses who used to fear her, avert their eyes, unwilling to stand in her defense. She is alone, utterly, humiliatingly alone. Richard exhales, shaking his head, voice like a death sentence. Amanda, do you remember what I told you the day I hired you? Amanda hesitates, panic flickering across her face. Amanda, softly, barely audible. That La Belle Noire is a place of excellence. That we uphold the highest standards. Richard, nodding slowly, deadly calm. And that the way we treat people is just as important as the food we serve. Beat, you have failed us. You have failed me. Amanda's breath hitches. Amanda, shaking her head, voice desperate, pleading. Please, Mr. Brooks, I have worked here for years. I've helped build this restaurant's reputation. This was just a mistake, I can fix this. Ethan, silent until now, finally speaks. Ethan, cool, measured, but devastating. You mean you can fix this now that you know who I am? Beat, voice sharp as a blade, but what if I really was just some guy? Some ordinary man who walked in for a meal? Would you still care? Amanda opens her mouth but no answer comes. Because they all know the truth, she wouldn't have. Richard, final, unwavering, absolute. You are dismissed, Amanda. Effective immediately. The words hit like a gavel slamming in a courtroom. Amanda's breath catches, her hands trembling at her sides. Amanda, voice breaking, frantic now. Please. I have nowhere else to go. I built my entire career on this place, please, just one more chance. Ethan watches her squirm, watches the woman who stood so proudly before crumble in the face of her own downfall. But he doesn't feel sorry for her, because how many people had she done this to before him? How many people had she belittled, humiliated, made to feel small, simply because she could? He gives her one final look. Ethan, calm, but unforgiving. You gave me no chance when I walked through that door. And now, you're getting exactly what you gave. Amanda's lips part, a desperate final plea on the tip of her tongue, but it never leaves her mouth. Because Richard has already turned away. Eleanor is already speaking to the staff about finding a new manager. Her time here is over. She stands there, humiliated, broken, watching as her entire world crumbles around her. Then, with one final, shaky breath, she turns and walks out of La Belle Noire for the last time. The doors close behind her. And just like that, she is gone. The restaurant exhales. The tension releases. Conversations pick back up, but they are different now. The guests who once found the situation entertaining are now lost in uneasy reflection. Some of them applaud. A few waiters, those who suffered under Amanda's rule, exchange small, knowing smiles. Justice has been served. Ethan finally sits down at a table. A waiter, one who had stood frozen during the ordeal, now rushes forward with nervous energy. Waiter, respectful, apologetic. Mr. Brooks, what can I get for you? Ethan glances at his mother, who smiles and nods. Ethan, grinning, shaking his head slightly. I think I'll just have a coffee. The staff moves with renewed energy. The tone of the restaurant shifts not just because Amanda is gone, but because a lesson has been learned. As Ethan sits, he glances around, watching how the world adapts in real time. The once arrogant diners, the waitstaff who were too afraid to speak up, they all learned something tonight. Because this wasn't just about him. It was about everyone Amanda had judged before him. Every waiter she degraded, every customer she dismissed, every person she sized up based on appearance rather than merit. Her downfall wasn't about power. It wasn't even about wealth. It was about decency. Because in the end, real class isn't about how much money you have. It's about how you treat people, especially when you think they have nothing to offer you. Ethan lifts his coffee cup, taking a slow, thoughtful sip as he observes the restaurant, his family's restaurant, settling back into a new rhythm. Conversations resume, but the energy is different. There is no longer an air of exclusion, no quiet approval of arrogance. Tonight, something changed. Not just for Amanda, but for everyone who witnessed her downfall. Some of the wealthier patrons, who had once smirked at his presence, now seem uncomfortable. They know what they just saw. They know they could have been her. Eleanor gently places a hand on her son's shoulder, a silent gesture of pride. Richard, still commanding respect with his presence, gives him a small nod before turning back to business. Justice has been served. But more importantly, a lesson has been learned. The restaurant may look the same, but it will never be the same again. What do you think about this story? Have you ever witnessed unfair treatment like this? Let us know in the comments. Comment your thoughts below. Should Amanda have been given a second chance, or did she get exactly what she deserved? If you enjoyed this video and want more powerful life lessons, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new story. Join our community and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Subscribe now and be part of the movement, because every story has a lesson.